Hello and welcome back to Yoga for Absolute Beginners. In this lesson, we're going to do a yoga practice from an accessible seat. So we're going to do a few seated yoga poses together. This practice is designed to follow the discussion we did on finding an accessible seat, where I went over your different options to help you keep your pelvis neutral and preserve the natural curves of your spine. We focused a bit on the natural curve of the lower back because the spine tends to follow that. So if you haven't done that discussion yet, head back to that lesson, go ahead and give it a listen, and then choose one of the seats you'd like to take today's practice in. I'm going to take the second option we went over, which was a lifted simple seat. I'll use this blanket for some support underneath my pelvis, and then cross the ankles in front. You might like a bit more of a lift, maybe a bolster. You might have preferred the straddle option that we had, so the feet pointing back behind you. Just take a moment to remember the options that we had from last time, maybe review the video, and then come into the seat you'd like to try this seated practice in today for now. When you do find that seat, we'll start with a few rounds of breath. So take your time, set yourself up, find that natural curve in the low back, the belly kind of drawing in and upward to help lift you up and out. And that's our first abdominal exercise. We are engaging our core here in our seat. You might like to have your chin come parallel to the ground, your shoulders relaxing, and your hands are either resting in your lap or just next to you. If you're on maybe a couch or a chair, you've got some options here. And we'll start with a few simple breaths. So if you want to close your eyes like I will, help bring your attention into your yoga practice to help remind your body that we're going to be mindful and attentive to how things feel since we're practicing yoga. And we do that first reminder by noticing what it feels like for the air to enter in through our nose or our mouth and to fill our body a little bit bigger. You hold the air for a moment, and then notice when the air leaves out the body, your belly staying strong, and then pausing a little bit before you draw another breath in. Inhale, hold a moment, exhale, and pause again, a few times at your pace here. Take one more breath where you feel each of those four phases again. And then slowly blink your eyes open if they're closed. And we're going to start with a little bit of movement in our seated practice here. So torso circles are a really great way to kind of loosen up the hips and back a little bit, as well as the sides of the body and a little bit into the chest and back. So our torso is this upper body part of us, and we are going to circle it around our pelvis. So you can bring your hands to knees or couch for a little bit of leverage to help you lift up through the chest to start. And then as you exhale, I want you to round a bit through your shoulder blades and let your chin come down towards your chest. It's just a small kind of movement. And then sweep out to one side before you send your chest forward and start to lift your chin a little bit. And then you're going to sweep around to the opposite side and round back into the shoulders, chin to chest. Now, if we're going to pair this with breath, we'll take an inhale for half a circle and an exhale for half a circle. So let ourselves round back a little bit and then sweep out to the side. Inhale as you come forward and up, and then exhale as you come around and back. Inhale, half a circle. Exhale, half a circle. And we're just going to keep going in this one direction to start a few times. And your circle can be really small. It can just be very little movement right over top of the pelvis here. Or maybe you like to make a really big circle and you want to kind of round and come out to the sides. Yogi's choice. Just start to pair the movement with breath as you explore here in your unique yoga practice. Some healthy, simple movement. We're going to go just one direction, one or two more times, just circling the torso. And then pause when you come to your rounded spine. Lift up and out a bit. And we're going to circle the opposite way in a moment. Now, if you're in a crossed ankle seat, like I am, a simple seat, you might like to switch the cross of your ankles so that the other one kind of comes behind it or on top. Feels a little funky when you do it, but if you get used to crossing it, it helps kind of even out the knees and hips over time instead of just crossing it the same way each time. So that's an option that you have today. You might like to try it out. If the seat's not comfortable, maybe you switch to a different option. Okay, let's lengthen up again. Go ahead and gently round back through the shoulders. And this time you're going to sweep to the opposite side with your torso. And then send the chest forward, lift the chin, and then come all the way around the other side and back. Pairing with breath, inhale, exhale. And your breath might be a little faster. You can take a whole breath for half a circle and a whole breath for the other half. You just want to pair movement with breath in a way that works for you so you can do it consistently. It's nice to notice when the sides feel a little different. This is a bit more challenging for me. But you also might notice when you're doing these circles, there's a spot you're like, ooh, that's real tight. Well, then pause when you find it and breathe into it. Feel the part that's tight. Start to stretch just a little bit. We're not forcing anything. We're inviting it to just get a little longer or relax. You don't change a tight muscle in one breath, from completely tight to completely loose, but you notice it and then you give it just a little attention to help it start to change. And that's why practices like yoga are really great to do regularly. One more circle, this second direction here. And then pause with the rounded spine. And go ahead and lift up and out. Okay, so that was our first pose, with some torso circles. We paired movement with breath, kind of loosened things up a little bit. The next pose is really similar, but we're going to circle the shoulders so we start to loosen up that joint a little. I'm going to switch my seat up because my knees just felt like they had a little bit of pressure on them today. And so I also want to model that it's nice to have options to change your seat throughout your practice. We're not in a rush. And so from your comfortable seat with your neutral pelvis, natural curve in the lower back, hands just resting on your body or by your sides. Go ahead and find the chin parallel to the ground again. And now we're going to circle our shoulders. The shoulders have these wing bones in the back, our scapula, and what's nice is when we circle it, they're going to move in all different directions, and that can help take care of even some upper back or neck pain, because some of the muscles in the neck and the back attach to those bones, those bones of the upper back. So if we move them around, we're also moving around the muscles that attach to them. We're going to start by rounding the shoulders forward a little bit. You can think like the shoulder movement when you go to give someone a hug, you kind of round. and that's a protraction of the scapula. So we're going to round them forward. And then I want you to bring your shoulders up to your ears. That's elevating the scapula. Lift them up. And now when you round the shoulders back, kind of squeeze the shoulder blades a little bit together. That's retracting them. And then go ahead and release the shoulders back and down, and that's depressing the scapula. So we're going to go through those 4 motions with breath. First, you kind of round forward and lift up as you inhale, and then you round back and lower as you exhale. So shoulders forward and up as you inhale, back and down as you exhale. At your breath pace, again, your breath might be a little different, and that's fine. You're just linking movement of the shoulders to your breath. Let's do one more, this first direction, forward, up, back and down, and then it can feel good to reverse the direction. So we retract the scapula first, or kind of back and down, so depress them, retract them, and then elevate and protract. And again, you can still inhale and exhale. Take 1 or 2 more rounds here, letting the shoulders move with breath. And then just relax them down. So I'll use anatomical terms throughout the course. It's really helpful because then if something makes sense to you or doesn't make sense to you, you have more resources to go look up. So when I use these terms, I use the language that physicians, physical therapists, people who work with the human body around the world, we have a common language, anatomical terms. So you're going to hear those throughout the course. I hope that you're not intimidated by them. It's just language, and it gives you, again, more tools, more information that you know about your body, so that if you need more information, you know what to type into the computer to get it. So shoulders, you don't have to know all those terms, but it's good to be familiar with them in case you do. So when we're now done with our torso circles, our shoulder circles, the next posture we're going to do seated here is a side body opener. So we're going to lean over and get to kind of open all around the side of the body. I'm going to come back to a crossed ankle seat because that's what I happen to enjoy for this pose. You can stay in the seat you are or switch it up a bit. But again, we want a firm, comfortable base so that we can move our upper body freely. So here you are in your crossed ankle seat. The shoulders, the scapula are slightly retracted and depressed, so kind of back and down, chin parallel to the ground, and your belly is drawing up and in. So that neutral pelvis, engage your abdominals to keep the spine healthy. And take a breath. Okay, for this side body opener, you're going to want to be able to reach next to you. That's why I like the crossed ankle seat. But if you can always put a block, a book, or if you're on a couch, you can reach down to the couch. So we're going to reach up to reach down. Go ahead and take both hands up overhead, palms facing. I'm going to mirror you, so this will be our left. We're going to turn our left hand away and lower the left hand all the way down to your yoga mat. And now with this left palm in contact, it's going to stay there for a little while. So I'd like you to make sure that this left side of your body is comfortable, that you're drawing the shoulder maybe away from the ear. You can bend the elbow, it can stay straight, it's your choice. But we want to kind of draw that shoulder away, make sure we're not causing any tightness in the neck. And then be able to lift and lengthen out of this right side of the body with the left hand reaching up. With the right hand reaching up. So from here, we're going to take some side body opening movements, a little bit of chest, back, and a lot of this kind of side here. Leaning over towards the left, go ahead and take your right hand and bring it in front of your body and just look down to the mat like you're closing both shoulders towards the ground. And you lift back up, kind of stack the shoulders again and look up to that top hand. And you might even come back a little bit through space if that's open to you today. And now we're going to look down again. And we're going to lift up, look up, let the shoulder follow, kind of open the posture. Here we are breathing, exhaling down. Inhale, lifting up. And now just take a few of these at your breath pace. You can move as fast or as slow as you need to. I don't recommend super fast because we really want to feel things. We want to see how they feel. And then let this just become some natural movement for you. So this right hand up in the air, just let it start to move through the air. Drawing circles is always a nice place to start when you have free movement at the hip or the shoulder, because they're both ball and socket joints, so you can kind of move around them. So just a little bit more movement in the shoulder there, opening the side of the body. And then I want you to look down to this left hand and bring the right hand down. Tent the fingers, so just your fingertips come towards the ground. If you're on the couch, you're just going to walk it back in and back to center. But if you can reach the ground, go ahead and start to walk it all the way forward. And you're going to get a little crossed ankle forward fold for a moment here. And then walk the hands back. And that's another nice way to stretch the side of the body with a bit more support from the ground. All right, so that was our first side that we opened. You can leave how you are, or you can switch the cross of your ankle. I like to switch to find evenness. And we're going to take those same postures on the opposite side. So find your neutral, lifted pelvis, the shoulders back and down. And then with a strong belly, inhale, lift your hands up overhead. And now you're going to turn your right hand away and lower it to the side and down. That left hand is reaching up and a little bit over. Again, we don't want to kind of crank up the side of the neck here, so find some space, some comfort, and then pause and breathe. Now this left hand up overhead. Look down, let the left hand and shoulder kind of follow you. Pinky comes towards the mat. And then inhale, open up, look to your top hand. Exhale, round the shoulders, kind of square downward. Inhale, open. Exhale. Inhale, feel that side body start to stretch. And just enjoy a few of these at your breath pace. You might like to start to explore some other movements here. The next time you open up, go ahead and take this left hand and just gently move it through space. Again, I like to draw circles to start, but there's other movements that can feel good here if you're taking your time to explore them. And now, if you can look to the hand that's down and bring the opposite hand down to meet it, just to the inside. And then we're going to walk these fingertips all the way around, half circle if it's accessible to you. If not, you're just coming back to neutral. And then you walk it on back. Beautiful, my yogis. We are going to move right along to our last two seated postures, and that's going to be a little attention to our neck, and then also a little bit of kind of linking movement to breath and stretching the hands. So you can stay in your seat as you are, or maybe you might want to try out a different seat, another seat. I think I'm going to bring the chair over for these last ones. and take the practice in a chair. So I'll meet you back here in a moment. Okay, so the last two postures of our seated practice are going to be a neck stretch and then some arm circles with a hand stretch. So like before, when we reached out to the side, we're going to lift up to lengthen our neck. So with a neutral pelvis, strong belly, shoulders back and down. Inhale, reach your hands all the way up, and then turn your palms away and start to open out and down. And if you're on the ground, your fingertips might come to meet the ground and you can just leave them there. If you're like me on a chair, you can lower your hands all the way down so that they're next to you. We're looking for that nice long neck. And now again, mirroring you, this is going to be our left side. So go ahead and lower your left ear towards your left shoulder. And pause here and feel that little stretch on the right side of the neck. Now, if you want that to be a little bit of a deeper stretch, float the left hand out and up, and then rest your palm on the top side of your head gently. Don't press, just let the weight of your hand come down. And that's going to exaggerate the stretch on the side of the neck a little bit. If it's too much, you just remove the hand again. And then pause here and breathe in and out slowly, feeling each phase of the breath. If your hand is on top of the head, go ahead and float it gently back down. And then the next time you inhale, come back to center. Opposite side, exhale, lower the right ear towards your right shoulder. Just pause here. Start to feel that stretch. So right ear to right shoulder, left side of the neck is stretching gently. As you reach the hands away, it might be enough, or you might want to take the right hand out and up and then place the palm face down on the kind of upper side of the head, just above the ear. Gentle weight helping with the stretch, not pressing too hard. And breathe. If the hand is on top of the head, you can float it back down and then lift back to center. We're just going to look down and up. So as you exhale, chin to chest, look down towards your lap. Feel the back of the neck stretch a little bit. Inhale, lift the chin up to the sky and feel the front of the neck stretch a bit. And then right back to neutral. So if those felt good at the end of the practice, and since you're going to be in a seat, you might come back and spend a little bit more time there. The last pose we'll do together is going to be this nice big arm circle into a lovely hand stretch. This hand stretch is important because in yoga, our next lesson is going to be finding comfort in tabletop, and there our hands are going to be in contact with the ground or mat, so that's going to require the wrist to have a bit of a range of motion. So this next pose we're going to do is going to start to stretch the wrist a little bit, give it some range so that it's ready for when we're going to put our weight and palms down on the ground. So find your comfortable seat, your nice neutral pelvis, anywhere there's space out to either side of you. And I'd like to take your hands out with your palms facing up, just reaching the fingertips away. And then as you inhale, go ahead and reach your hands up overhead and let your palms come together. And as you exhale, lower your palms down towards the center of your chest and then pause when you get there. Here's where we'll do our hand stretch. So if you notice, my elbows are pointing out wide and my palms are together. I want you to gently press your palms. And if this is a lot, this is where you stay today. This is kind of your stretch. But if you'd like a little more, keep pressing the palms and then start to just lower the base of your hand down and apart a little bit. And you're going to start to find that stretch in the hand. And go really slow, separating the hands away, but still pressing them together at the points that are touching. And then you're going to start to feel that stretch in the fingers. And I want you to come apart until your pinky and your thumb are separate. And then start coming back together again. Let them touch. Bring the base of your fingers together, the base of your palm, and then we're going to reverse. So we're going to reach these fingertips up and then out wide. And we're going to do that a few times. We're going to inhale, sweep out and up, strong belly. Exhale down to heart center. And then pause here for a few rounds of breath and just pressing the hands in. Feel that little stretch as you peel the base of the palms apart until the thumb and the pinky separate. And then bring everything back together. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. And now this time, same kind of stretch, maybe one more. But when the fingers come back together, offset, interlace, and then turn your palms away from you. You can keep the bend in the elbow, maybe this is as far as they go, or you can keep pressing and the stretch is going to get a little bit deeper into the hands, this interlaced finger stretch for the hands and the palms. If you need a gentler version, you can always just hold the fingertips. You don't have to interlace. Take one at a time. And then go ahead and relax the hands down. That is the end of our seated practice today. So we went over kind of 5 postures or flows where you got to move in different ways around that nice steady base of your body. There are a lot more seated postures. You can do hours and hours of yoga just from a simple seat, and that's why it's important to make sure you can find one that's comfortable for you so you can practice yoga throughout your life. The next place we're going to go in this Yoga for Absolute Beginners course is going to be into tabletop. So we're going to come to hands and knees and go through all the different modifications and ways that you can find comfort there, and then follow that with another practice again. So I look forward to seeing you in the next lessons.